Do you like wrestling? Do you ever watch wrestling?
No. Nope.
And The Rock said, whoa, 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 because I'm still standing here, custom made, brother. Woo! And I mean custom made, from the alligators to the Ole Cassini right here, Ric Flair. There's only one.
We're not the kind of guys that say, we told you so, but we told you so.
Yeah, no thank you from the Young Bucks.
Watch Wrestling with Mike Wellman.
You know who I am.
What's up, gang? Welcome to Watch Wrestling with Mike Wellman, the podcast that breaks down the biggest stories in and out of the ring. What's up, gang? My name is Mike Wellman. I am your host. It is good to be here. This is episode 70 of Watch Wrestling with Mike Wellman. We are here to break down the biggest stories in and out of the ring. And right about now, I'd say the biggest story in and out of the ring is, you guessed it, one Mr. Philip Seymour Punk is back in the news. And joining me to go over all this chaos in the world of wrestling, as usual, he is the notorious KRS, the purveyor of high-quality wrestling opinions, wrestling fan Kris. What's up, Kris?
What's going on, Mike? And I just want to say before we start this cast, there better be some goddamn water bottles.
Well, there aren't any, so you're going to have to show up hydrated, Kris. I
will be going to Twitter for that.
I expect you to show up hydrated to this activity, which requires you to be hydrated, but will also somewhat dehydrate you in the process.
Well, it's complicated. Never mind.
All right, so we got a lot to get to, and water bottles at indie shows probably won't be on the show today. But yes, CM Punk is back in WWE. He is lighting the world on fire on this microphone, even on commentary. Apparently nobody can touch him. But yes, great promo battle this week from CM Punk and Seth Rollins. The bigger news is really, at this point, just a bunch of hearsay on Twitter, really, on X, regarding potentially Warner Brothers Discovery having Raw air on their TV channels and what that might all mean. So we are going to talk about all things CM Punk, his return, the Smackdown promo, the Raw promo, where he goes from here. Will he wrestle Stone Cold Steve Austin? Will he take over HBK's job running NXT? We're going to get to all that. We're also going to talk about AEW's Continental Classic. Pretty good stuff on Dynamite and Rampage and Collision. In the Continental Classic. I like all of the stories that are being told within the tournament, so we're going to talk about the story so far of the AEW Continental Classic, as we're a little more than halfway through it, I would say, at this point. And then if we got time, we can talk about this Golden Jets segment from from Dynamite this week. I forgot what show I was watching. I grabbed my remote to change the channel. I thought it must have been watching Raw, but no, just kidding. Yeah, the Golden Jets had a epic whiff of a segment on Dynamite that hopefully we'll have time to get to. But so got a lot to get to per usual on this podcast. But before we go any farther, that's right. We need you to be kind, like, and subscribe. Watch Wrestling with Mike Wellman. You already know where to find this podcast because you already found this podcast, whether it was on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Water Bottle Podcasts. We're on Facebook, Watch Wrestling Pod on Facebook. We see you, Facebook folks, Facebook gang. Hit the like button. Follow us on Facebook. We are Watch Wrestling Podcast on Instagram, on X, at W Wrestling Pod. So we're out there on social media. But more importantly, be kind, like, subscribe, and share Watch Wrestling with Mike Wellman. And then we won't have zero problems, big fella. All right. Let's get into the show here. So, Kris, did you see this? CM Punk is back in WWE.
Oh, is he?
Yeah. Yep, CM Punk returned in the closing seconds, really, of Survivor Series. Just to talk about that for just a second. It's been a few weeks at this point. But, yeah, Survivor Series, I honestly didn't think he was going to come back. I thought the whole day, it's happening. He's coming back. I think I might have even texted you that I think we're going to see him.
Yes.
But then, as the match is ending, the men's War Games match, I'm thinking, are they going to fit? How could they fit anything else into this show? They even show up the little all rights reserved show ending graphic on the screen. I literally did grab my PlayStation remote, and I was getting ready to back out of the old Peacock app, and then you hear it. Insane. CM Punk comes out here. I don't know who dressed this man in his return to WWE. He looks like a guy who was like at a 4th of July cookout, and he just stood up on a picnic table to yell at somebody else across the cookout. That's what he looked like to me.
Very good, yes.
With that white T-shirt and that weird haircut that he had, that he already had cut. He must have got some feedback himself on that haircut. Man,
Good.
CM Punk this man wakes up every day like Tim Allen in the Santa Claus. He just regrows his whole head of hair and beard and has to style it in a different way every day.
Very good.
I've never seen CM Punk have the same haircut and beard styling 2 days in a row. Ever. He's like a video game character where you can just like hit the trigger and like switch out a goatee, and then a full beard, and then a half beard, and then stubble. But
it's like on WCW NWO Revenge when I would use Macho Man as the like bright colored Macho Man instead of NWO.
Yeah, it's just like there's CM Punk skins that he gets to pick. But anyways, so he comes back at Survivor Series. We get the Seth Rollins videos of Seth Rollins freaking out, F you, F him. He's got to be held back by Michael Cole and Corey Graves. Okay, people, that's how serious this was. That's how much of a shoot it was. Although, one thing that I thought, I'm not going to say it was a shoot, but I thought was very interesting, was that video of Michael Cole and Corey Graves during CM Punk's return. Did you see that one?
Yeah.
Michael Cole, he is in it to win it, man. Who's running this place? Is Michael Cole running this place? He walks around like he is running this place.
He's got to be high up.
He's out there. He acts like he was acting like the conductor of an orchestra when CM Punk came out. He's just like, yes, we are hitting every single note of Cult of Personality. And look over at our friend Corey Graves. I'm not going to say he wasn't happy, but he no-sold CM Punk's return.
Nonplussed.
Yeah. Good on Corey Graves.
Yeah. They have a backstory, right? Or something I don't care about going into, but right? It's something like that. That's probably why.
I'm fine with Corey Graves' reaction to CM Punk returning. So, but anyways, yeah. So they had to hold back Seth Rollins, and then it's been CM Punk every night since then, I feel like. He's on Raw. He has a return promo, the welcome back promo that we've seen so many other wrestlers do. Bret Hart did this when he came back, right? Finally, after all the years, he came back. Who else came back to WWE after leaving in a huff? It's happened.
I'm sure Hogan did it when he went back to red and yellow.
Yeah, Hogan did it. I mean, I think it was like the night after WrestleMania 18, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, all these guys that come back, the glorious return. The only thing that took a little bit of wind out of Punk's return was that it was kind of a retread of his return to wrestling in the first dance in AEW. You can't have that big kind of reappearance, reemergence twice. And but it was still his return to WWE. So he came back and he said the line that made the internet cringe, "I'm home."
Disgusting. Yeah.
Well, it was obviously part of the. It was there on purpose. At first, it seemed like he just had to say what his bosses wanted him to say, but after the following week's promo with Seth Rollins, it made a little bit more sense. So he's kind of beating us over the head now with this idea that he's the good employee, right?
Yeah.
Like now he's going to be the company man. Maybe
CM
that's what CM stands for. Company man.
Very good.
This whole time. He's been under our nose with it this whole time. Company man Punk has been here. No, it's obviously a marked departure from his previous attitude, predominant mental attitude about life, being a company man in the WWE. This is not the CM Punk that rose to prominence, I'll tell you that. But he's back in WWE, and he's doing numbers for sure. That return video to Survivor Series was like a bajillion views, I think, on YouTube.
Something like that, yeah.
A zillion, maybe? No. Proving already that the return to WWE is huge. He still got it, as they say, as far as being a needle mover. So all those people that said he wasn't a needle mover, well, guess what? He's moving those needles now.
One Bill Phil was true.
One Bill Phil has been on my TV 1 billion times over the past week. So the Raw promo was not awesome. But at the same time, what would you really expect from CM Punk, both in character and in real life? Because in real life, he's kind of going back to his old job after getting fired from a different place. So you have to be humble, right? With your old bosses who are now your new bosses. And they already know all of your bad habits. So you can't... there was all kinds of stuff online about how there's a clause in the contract or whatever that he's got to behave himself, whatever that means, you know? So safe to say, he's not going to act the way he acted in AEW, right? He's going to be on his best behavior, presumably. So we got that Raw promo, and everybody was kind of like, what is this? This isn't a pipe bomb, you know?
Yeah, Michael Cole saying, CM Punk will be here with a live mic. And then it was just like, yay, I'm happy to be here.
Yeah. So, I mean, it seems to me like it's going to end up being like part of the long-term story of whether he's faking being a good guy, you know, when he comes out with a heel turn, and or whether it's just going to be, now he is going to be a sort of a white meat baby face, as they say, right? Either way, it seems like it's definitely part of the longer-term story. It wasn't just him glad-handing, you know? But that's how it came out. But then we get to Smackdown on Friday. Now he's name-dropping. Now he's been at this place for a week, right? Now he's allowed to talk some shit. So he gets on SmackDown, and he probably also saw some of that feedback online about the Raw promo being, like, you know, pretty tepid. Yeah. So he's talking about Roman Reigns. He's talking about Kevin Owens. He's even talking about what he's not supposed to talk about, right? He says, I don't know if Kevin Owens wants to team up with a guy who just punches people in the locker room. And the funniest part, and that's not exactly what he said, but that's the gist. And the funniest part about that was the crowd reaction. They're kind of like, I don't get it. What are you talking about?
Yeah, they don't care. They're like, what do you do? Yeah.
I don't give a fuck. Yes. So he's back in WWE, and he talks about how, I don't know if he wants to be around a guy who just punches people in the locker room. And the audience didn't get it because the WWE audience doesn't follow the internet and the dirt sheets and AEW like we do.
Well, wasn't Punk saying like that Punk himself doesn't want to like be around someone who punches guys in the locker room, because that's what Kevin Owens is to Waller and Theory, and he was trying to be coy about it, like, oh, look at that. So that's Punk being like, I didn't really talk about it. What are you talking about? You know,
doing the same thing that he accused others of doing, which is becoming CM Punk's new MO.
Yes, it is.
So, but the promo was good. That was just an interesting line in it, I thought. He's just trying to get back in the rhythm of it, but he's caused so much chaos over the past few years that doesn't all hit.
Yeah.
So he mentions maybe teaming up with Kevin Owens. He kind of mentions teaming up with LA Knight. It seems like now we're getting the same thing we got in AEW, which is, oh my goodness, CM Punk is here. He could work with all of these great, talented people. And then it kind of never happens in AEW. But in WWE, we get another round of that, where it's like today's generation of wrestlers, LA Knight, wow, maybe I could wrestle with him.
Yeah.
And maybe he could. But it does seem so far like he is... this isn't like a 2-week babyface heel turn. This is going to be presumably a babyface run until, who knows?
Yeah, we're sick of it, yeah.
But it's not, I don't think it's going to be a flip the script. I was lying to you for the last week and now I'm really a bad guy. I think it's going to be when he turns bad, it'll be a logical next step as opposed to revealing that he's been bad this whole time.
Really? You think it's going to, I think it's going to be, I do think he's going to turn and it's going to be the whole plan, but I think it's going to be long. Like, I think it's going to be a long, drawn out, slow, like, this is my plan all along. I don't think it's going to be like, you scorned me, die, Brocky, die. I don't know.
They could do like a slow CM Punk, maybe the fans, maybe he doesn't feel like the fans appreciated him enough, kind of a thing. Like, put another chip on his shoulder.
Yeah. I mean, I think we also have to see how he wrestles, like, is he going to be in the ring shape? He's going to get hurt immediately like he did in AEW. So we'll see. That also has to affect it, I think.
So, yeah. So he's making the rounds. And one of the stops is this NXT deadline show. He's talking about how he's in Connecticut. What should I do in Connecticut? What's there to do in Connecticut? And he's like doing Instagram or Snapchat or whatever. And he's like, what could I do in this town? And of course, it's like, okay, you're going on fucking NXT show tonight. Okay, great. So yeah, we saw him in the ring with good old HP Shizzle. They're buds now.
Unbelievable.
This is getting wilder by the minute. CM Punk on good terms with good old HBK. Is he the GM of NXT or is it just known that what would he be?
Yeah, I don't know. He's like Vince McMahon when he was fighting Austin. Yeah.
He's just running.
Not the GM. He's just the guy. Yeah.
We just all know that he's in charge.
Yeah, exactly.
So, the story is that Punk is deciding where he's going to land, right? In his return to WWE. Is he going to go to Raw? Is he going to go to SmackDown? Now we have GMs. Now we have Nick Aldis on SmackDown. We have Adam Pearce on Raw. And we have, like I said, HB Shizzle in NXT. And then we get Raw, where he's going to make his decision. And then we get basically the magic that we got on this week's Raw.
Yeah.
Which was probably the best Seth Rollins promo I've ever seen. One of the best promos in this segment was one of the best promos in WWE in a long time. I haven't been glued to the TV like this on Raw in a while. And it was awesome. So let's get into the Raw segment. CM Punk comes out, signs with Raw. So congratulations, Adam Pearce.
That's right.
He must be a master negotiator, that Adam Pearce, making deals to sign one Bill Phil.
You got him when you can sign that guy.
So then, he signs the contract, gets up on the top rope or the second rope, and then we hear Seth Rollins music. I've never been so excited to hear Seth Rollins music play. Probably since WrestleMania 31 when he came out at the main event and stole the championship.
Yeah.
I'm thinking to myself, we're doing this already? Like, they're already going to face off? And it's kind of coming together in my mind. Like, they're going to actually face off right now. Like, yeah, it seemed logical that it would happen, but it's happening right now. This was where my curiosity was piqued as far as when Seth Rollins comes out. Because now these two have to work, right? Now they're on camera on a live TV show and they have to work together, which is something that we can obviously say about CM Punk has not happened successfully over the past 2 years, right?
Exactly. Yep.
So I was very curious how this was going to go. Because there's only so many topics you can avoid talking about and still have an interesting show, especially with CM Punk, who's he's been in the headlines every single week for the past 2 years, it seems like, for something different. So, like, what is Rollins going to talk about? What can he talk about? Is this going to be, manufactured, fabricated, I'm going to beat you up, or are we going to talk about the real stuff here? What are we going to get into? So I thought Seth Rollins did an amazing job in this promo, just because he did that interview with Nick Hausman. I think it was like over SummerSlam. It was earlier in the year where he caused the scene and he said, Phil, I hate Phil. Phil's a cancer. He said, like, stay gone, you cancer. Like, it just doesn't get any more unequivocal than that. Like, you're just saying, I hate this guy. I don't want him to work here. I mean, it could have been a work, but it probably wasn't. I don't think it was.
I don't either.
So I'm operating under that, information that it was not. So now Seth Rollins has to deal with this guy that he just said was a cancer, right? And now he's in the same company. So, and they're in the ring together, which means they've obviously already agreed to this, whatever we're about to get, right?
Yeah.
Maybe not every single line, but they've agreed that this is what we're doing. So it was interesting immediately. Interesting to see what is Seth Rollins going to talk about. And I thought he brilliantly weaved together the real and the fictional parts of the story, right? He says, don't call this place your home, because basically Seth Rollins has been here for the past 10 years, right? He's been here working hard, trying to be the guy at this place that Punk did try to tear down, right? He said bad things about some of the people. This is what Rollins was saying, some people in the back. So he's got a good reason to tell CM Punk, don't call this place your home. Kind of what we as fans over that last week, we were kind of saying, like, we were more focused on, well, it's a little bit disingenuous that you're calling it your home. Like Bully Ray, I believe, said on Busted Open, he said, it's not your home if you said that the place caused you mental and physical harm,
Yeah.
Which is what Punk did say. I mean, he basically flipped the script when he went back to WWE. It contradicted everything he's said over the past 10 years. So Rollins is right to point that out. Don't show back up here and call this place your home. And he's getting right in Punk's face. And this is where we get, everybody had the same thought of, this is the flashback to the Hangman Page CM Punk promo, right? Except when Seth Rollins is saying these veiled insults, hinting at reality, things like that, it's all part of the story. It's all approved. CM Punk knows what's coming. It's going somewhere, and this is a part of that, as opposed to Hangman Page's line was so out of left field that A, we forgot about it until we all found out Punk was pissed off, and B, we didn't know what it meant in the moment. The line about the workers' rights promo is as it's being called, right? Where he said, I have to save AEW from you. You talk a lot about workers' rights, right? That's what Hangman said. And that is when Punk made that face, that it was just like the face Punk made in that Hangman promo was like his facial expression went off script, Like,
I gotta go rewatch that because I can't wait. That's
he's
great.
just staring a hole through Adam Page in this. It's just as if he's giving him a message of like, what are you doing? And it's that face you make when you just keep the same face for a very long time and he's just staring at Hangman, right?
Oh.
And then he's kind of doing that to Seth Rollins, but now it's part of the show. And then we see Seth Rollins' face. And again, I was saying to myself, what is Seth Rollins going to say to Punk here, right? Especially with the heightened sensitivity that Punk has shown us over the past couple years, of all of a sudden there's rules about what you can and can't say to this guy, right? And Rollins, just the most genuine face, just looking into the man that he has all this animosity towards, just saying what he feels. It was just incredible. Like I said, the way they were able to weave together the real and the fictional was amazing. And it really made me think that these guys, they're gonna do it. They're gonna do what hasn't been done over the past couple years with Punk, which is they're gonna make some real life shit turn into some on camera shit that we all really like, which is what wrestling has been. People have been doing this in wrestling for its entirety, turning real stories into stories. And it's just been this recent time where Punk and AEW, the Young Bucks, and Kenny Omega and Hangman, and basically everybody Punk ever like crossed paths with, couldn't make it work. And I think that, for one, they're going to make it work. And I think another thing that was interesting was Rollins, in one of his interviews, he mentioned, like, when asked about Punk's backstage behavior, you know, what if certain things happen? He said something like, we're all professionals here. That stuff's not going to happen here. And that was both not necessarily a shot at AEW, but it was definitely a statement about the difference between the two companies, right?
Yeah, and I think that's why Punk comes in there, and like I think he's going to allow these kind of things to happen because in his head he's like, no one's going to really go off the rails. I'm not going to go off the rails because we're not going to come to blows. It's just not going to happen. Even if that's not true, and it does happen, which I don't think it will. It's just there's a perception that Punk has. He has more. It seems like Punk has more respect for WWE as a company and all the wrestlers in WWE, even though he didn't say that for the last 10 years.
Yeah, and it was just a great promo overall. And we're going to get some type of program next from Seth Rollins and CM Punk, which my guess is it's... Oh, and then so before we get into what comes next with Punk, in this promo, Punk basically announced himself for the Royal Rumble. So now we have another added element of Punk is taking somebody else's story here, potentially. We have Cody waiting in the wings. I wouldn't guess that he would win the Royal Rumble 2 years in a row. It's possible. But are they sliding Punk into Cody's spot here? Or are they making another spot is the question, right?
Yeah. I mean, in my head, I think the championship that Rollins has is perfect for Punk to go after and eventually win if he has to, and leave Cody and Roman Reigns on the other side.
Yeah. So Punk announces himself for the Royal Rumble. So now we have Cody Rhodes and CM Punk announced for the Royal Rumble.
I mean, we talked about this like last year too, and maybe the year before. At least we have some people now that could win. Now there's some intrigue. It's like there's no like blatant winner now because now it could be Punk, could be Cody. Already interesting.
Yeah, I mean it's down to two, I would say, as far as that goes.
Okay, sure.
But having more than one obvious choice is different.
And I don't want to. I know we don't like to fantasy book on the show very often, but they got to be the last two, right? And I think Punk, he might have to win, and then people are going to think that Cody isn't going to finish the story, but then it eventually does. Like it writes itself. Come on, guys.
The reason why we don't like to fantasy book on this show is because it's not a fantasy.
Touche.
We're booking the territories on this show.
Right.
We're not fantasy booking anything. We're just playing WWE 2K on season my GM mode.
Touché.
We're booking the territories, and we write in pen.
I said we get the pen out. It's real. You're right.
This is the only pen I got. It's not my favorite pen, but it's good enough. So we have Punk announcing himself for the Royal Rumble. He does say maybe he'll come after Seth Rollins' championship after he wins the Royal Rumble. But I think that is a given. I don't think him winning the Royal Rumble is a given, but we know what comes next. It's going to be CM Punk and Seth Rollins. Well, actually, apparently it's going to be CM Punk versus Dominic at a house show. Did you hear about this?
A little bit. I didn't read up on it.
Now, this was worth the wait. 10 years, this was worth the wait. From when CM Punk feuded with Rey Mysterio, and Mysterio family was involved on SmackDown when he was in the Straight Edge Society, and young Dominic was there. And now we get Dirty Dom versus even dirtier Phil.
It's great.
Yeah, so they're gonna fight Dom and Punk apparently, which I think is awesome. I think there's a lot of those little things you can do with CM Punk now that he's back in WWE like put him in matches against Dominic, you know?
Yeah.
But back to Punk and Rollins. So I was thinking before the actual Raw promo, I was thinking maybe you actually could do Rollins versus Punk at the Royal Rumble. Probably not going to happen now that Punk is in the Royal Rumble.
I would have liked to think, in my head, I was thinking it was going to be Punk and Rollins at the Royal Rumble, and Rollins actually beats Punk because, The Rock beat Punk at the Rumble all those years ago, and then now Punk's kind of like in that Rock role, and then Rollins actually defeats him, and then we'll go from there, but that's probably not going to happen. You're right.
The more I think about it, the more I think you could do Punk winning the Rumble, because I just don't know, do you give the guy who didn't win the Royal Rumble the Night 2 main event, i.e., if Cody goes in and wins the Elimination Chamber, can you still give him the main event against Roman Reigns? Or would Punk win the Rumble and then legit take Cody's spot?
I mean, I think that's, in my head, that's what everyone thinks, and that's where Punk leans to, and then Rollins just endlessly talks shit and gets under Punk's skin so much that he eventually goes after Rollins instead.
Maybe. We haven't written out that far yet, so we don't know.
Yeah, it's the holiday. It's the holiday season. We got to worry about Christmas first, then we could book.
Yeah, we got to write the Christmas episode. Stone Cold Steve Austin's gonna stun Santa. Spoiler, no. So, do you think that Seth Rollins and CM Punk will face each other at WrestleMania 40 next year?
Yes.
Okay. Do you think CM Punk will win?
Oof. Now that one is tough. Yes, I think he will. I don't know, because that in my head, like I just said, I thought Rollins would win at Rumble and then Punk wins at Mania. In this situation, it could happen because Rollins is the ultimate like company guy. So if they say drop that title to Punk, even if he hates Punk's guts, he will do it and it'll be fine. But I mean, do you need Punk to win the title? I wouldn't do it because I need Cody to beat Reigns, and that has to be the biggest deal. If Punk beats Rollins, that might overshadow that.
Well, so you're saying it would be a night 1 main event is what I think we're all on the same page about that. If Rollins and Punk face off for the World Heavyweight Championship, it's going to be night 1, and then
it has to be. Yeah,
Roman would be defending his title on night 2.
Even if, like you say, even if Punk wins the Rumble, it's going to be night 1.
So then Roman got brought up by Punk, so that seems like down the line something that CM Punk could be involved in, is a feud with Roman Reigns. It's harder for me to think that Punk would beat Roman Reigns than really anybody else, right? I think so. If Punk goes into a feud with Roman, whether it's for WrestleMania, whether it's at Money in the Bank, SummerSlam, Royal Rumble of next year, WrestleMania of next year, whenever, I don't see Punk beating Roman Reigns, right?
Me neither.
But that's the match I actually want to see.
Mm-hmm. I think, just thinking about it too, I mean, I do want to see that. I think Punk and Heyman's like history would be awesome. They could just go against each other on the mic too. Oh man, there's a lot of good stuff coming out of that. Yeah.
Hey, I don't know what inning we're in within the Bloodline saga, but we were only in the 3rd inning. Like 7 months ago when Paul Heyman said that, we were only in the 3rd inning. Did you think that in this Bloodline saga that one of these innings was going to involve CM Punk?
Oh, this game's over. We're playing a different sport now. It doesn't even matter.
Yeah. Did you think that after the 3rd inning that you would take a 6-month break before the 4th inning?
I know.
It's easy to only be in the 3rd inning when you're going to take 8 months off before the next inning.
It's a long game.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They're definitely playing the long game over in WWE. So, and then the last piece of the CM Punk puzzle is the fever dream match of CM Punk versus one Stone Cold Steve Austin. Do we think this is even a possibility?
I mean, yes, only because Austin did that thing with Owens a few years ago, so he might be able to do the same kind of thing. Not very high probability, not very high likelihood, but
Yeah,
Could be.
it seems like it's, again, like a fever dream. But possible, yes. And what I think it would depend on 100% is the rattlesnake. I think in any universe, if Stone Cold Steve Austin informs WWE, I would like to work with CM Punk, they stop whatever they're doing, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because that is, and at this stage of both of their lives and careers with their ages, it wouldn't be the dream match like on a video game of Prime Austin versus Prime Punk, right?
Yeah.
But it is. Is it the last dream match? I think it is. CM Punk versus Stone Cold. I think it's the last dream match
That we could actually get. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, first of all, it's at a height that is hard to, like, if you go to any generation, if you pull from the Hall of Fame, there's very few dream matches of guys who are alive or dead that you could ever even concoct that would be like, maybe like, I don't know, Andre the Giant versus the Undertaker, just like stuff that could never happen.
Yeah, exactly.
It's still above a lot of these, dream matches. And then the fact that it's possible right now that it could happen. And there's nothing. So since that like match got thought up in the lexicon, whenever that happened, whenever people started talking about that, like, yeah, CM Punk, I'd love to wrestle Stone Cold or whatever. There's just hasn't been any, like, there's no dream match for The Rock, right? He's great. He's the great one. We want him to wrestle Roman and all this stuff. We want him to come back and have a match. But there's no dream match. Roman versus The Rock, it's a dream match, but it's not the dream match, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And there's literally nobody else. There's no one left who is alive that is a legend that is not wrestling, right? There's no one. Everyone is either like elderly or like Mick Foley is not going to wrestle. You know what I mean? And he obviously couldn't anyway. But there's no one left.
Yeah.
To have a dream match, right? It would be today's stars. Like the next dream match hasn't been thought up yet, basically.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think Punk versus Stone Cold is the last dream match. I mean, it's possible you could do it next year at WrestleMania, because it seems like it would have to be a WrestleMania, right?
Absolutely.
Well, I take it back. One dream match that I think we should still hopefully get to see is The Ultimate Warrior versus Yokozuna, hopefully.
I mean, that could be at next year's WrestleMania.
I think it just requires the right build, and for both guys to, play ball.
Oh, that's the only holdup, I think.
Yeah, I don't know if Warrior's gonna.
Yeah, he's the one.
Gonna lay down for Rodney. All right, but yeah, so CM Punk, and then people on the roster, right? As far as not just the big names, LA Knight, Dominic Mysterio. I mean, he's reuniting with Kofi Kingston, who's no longer Jamaican.
Yes.
He's introducing himself around the backstage area. He's meeting people. This is not the CM Punk I remember meeting. Like, he would not introduce himself to Chad Gable. Hello, hi, nice to meet you.
That's his vibe right now, though. That exact quote right there in that tone.
Hello, hi, nice to meet you. I'm Phil.
That's company man. That's company man Punk right there.
I'm Phil. Okay, Phil, this is where you're going to hang up your jacket. This is your cubicle.
Oh God. He's like, I'm watching Fargo on right now on TV, and he's just like one of those folksy guys. Oh, okay, that's why I put my coat. All right, okay, thanks everybody.
Just doesn't want to upset the apple cart one bit. But I don't blame him. But yeah, so that is the on-screen drama with CM Punk, the drama that we all tune in for. But now online, we've got Dave Meltzer tweeting cryptic things, and I've seen other people tweeting other cryptic things that they kind of confirming that they heard what Dave Meltzer heard. And then between Meltzer and Nick Hausman, we got the news that CM Punk being back in WWE has reopened the negotiations between WWE and Warner Brothers Discovery for the TV rights for Raw. So what that means is that Warner Brothers, who currently are airing AEW on their airwaves, is negotiating for Raw. So to play this thing out, and we're not writing this one in pen. Hopefully we never have to write this one in pen.
Yeah.
But if Warner Brothers Discovery were to get the TV rights for Raw, they would be in one of two situations. A situation where they have both WWE and AEW on their channels, in which case AEW would not be making a lot of money, or they have just WWE and no AEW. So if AEW were to lose their TV deal, that, according to, people like Brandon Thurston, and that's a main source of revenue for them. So it would essentially be taking away their biggest source of revenue. And they're a company that, again, according to Brandon Thurston, they lose money every year because, Tony Khan just spends all this money and then they're not net profitable as of yet.
Whew.
So who knows what the future holds, but it does make me reframe a lot of what I think about this war and how quickly it could end.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if the X website is listening to me, but on my For You page, it is just everyone. Like right now, I'm seeing 5 or 6 tweets about people saying they don't want AEW to die. And then in the middle is just Tony Khan thanking everybody for tuning into Dynamite.
It's listening. Yeah.
It's just like, oh my gosh. So how did this go from, do we think CM Punk could get along with the talent in WWE? And do we think he could get along with his old arch nemesis Triple H? To, are they going to kill AEW, the tag team of CM Punk and Triple H? God.
It's remarkable.
Triple H. Who knew? CM Punk joining DX. The new DX is CM Punk, Triple H, and Nick Khan. And HBK is still there. Nick Khan is the Rick Rude, the new Rick Rude of DX.
Yes. He has the briefcase and there's actual money in it.
He's the insurance policy.
That's great.
I mean, I am all for guys going back and forth between these two shows, but just AEW is, as a organization that existed in the past, that would suck.
Yeah, I know. I mean,
because there are other companies. I just named some, right? They didn't get to the point where anybody thought they were going to war with WWE, right? They didn't get to the point where they were signing big names away from WWE, or there was even the discourse about them being similar in size in any way to WWE. So without a number 2 in the marketplace, the situation changes. Part of the reason why WWE has been so much better over the past few years is because of the competition that exists in the form of AEW, right?
It has to be, yeah.
Without a second company, whichever company it is, that's around the size of AEW, the world of wrestling would be a lot worse off. So I hope that AEW doesn't die. Are you kidding?
Me too, please.
Remember that day we thought AEW was going to die? Ha ha ha. Just like that day we all thought Twitter was going to die because Elon Musk sucks and fired all the coders. We all thought Twitter was going to just die one day.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So that's wrestling. No. So there's a lot going on, and we're going to get back to the biggest stories in the ring, because one thing that's been going on in the ring that I have been thoroughly enjoying is the AEW Continental Classic. I was not sure how this tournament was going to play out when it was first announced. I thought maybe this might be too much for people. Maybe people might stop caring. But I am glued to these matches. I want to know who's going to win. I like the stories that are being told both in the matches. I like the point system. It's not really complicated. I saw some people online saying it was complicated. But I have been enjoying, like I said, this whole thing, and it's like building momentum somewhat. At least it was for up to the first half, right? So in this tournament right now, as of this recording, we have Moxley, who just beat Swerve, which just the build to that match was great because you have these two guys who have won all their matches. So they're both tied.
Yeah.
And, you know, now they have to face each other because everybody on each side, there's the Gold League and the Blue League, everybody's facing each other once. So you have winners and you have losers being established, right? So when they announced this tournament, I kind of thought, well, where are some of the other big names, right? Where's Kenny Omega, which saw some screenshots that he didn't want to be in the tournament, right? But people like Kenny Omega, Malachi Black, MJF, you know, who knows who could be in this tournament? So why isn't Samoa Joe in this tournament? But then you realize, well, there's points being tallied up, so somebody has to like lose occasionally, or everyone's just going to have the same amount of points.
Yeah,
depending on how you book it with your pen. So we have kind of the losing side of the tournament, right? Which is like Jay Lethal, Mark Briscoe, Daniel Garcia, who I think is another small story in this tournament. Daniel Garcia is hopefully permanently back to being a pro wrestler, because that's what I saw the other night when he came out. The Red Death, Daniel Garcia. None of this sports entertainment crap.
Good step, yep.
But the first big thing I thought was interesting in this tournament was Eddie Kingston coming out of the gates losing. Eddie Kingston was the Ring of Honor and New Japan Strong champion. He put the championships up on the line in the tournament to make the Triple Crown Championship of the Ring of Honor World Championship, the Continental Championship, and the New Japan Strong Championship. So the winner is going to be the champion of all three of these things. And Eddie Kingston says he's going to defend the championship in every match. So boom, right out of the gate, Brody King. In my eyes, Brody King right now is the Ring of Honor World Champion and New Japan Strong Champion, Openweight Champion.
Yeah.
Right? He lost, right? So I think he's lost. So now there's a new because he's 2-1. So who beat Brody King?
Who was that?
Let's see. Andrade. Because it was weird. It was the Blue League, which has been on Collision, but they put that match on Dynamite. So Andrade beat Brody King. So Andrade right now is technically the Ring of Honor World Champion and the New Japan Strong Openweight Champion, which is interesting because, I guess now that he can be related with New Japan now if he's going to be wrestling in CMLL, I think, right?
Yes, I believe so, yeah.
It's complicated, but yeah. But I didn't see Brody King being announced as the Ring of Honor World Champion.
Yeah, this is the only thing that's confusing about the tournament is just this little thing right here. The points are easy to follow.
Yeah.
The matches are easy to follow. It's just this part.
In my eyes, Brody King is just the champion of everything right now, even though he lost last night on Dynamite. So, but yeah, I thought it was great. Brody King, he did get 2 wins in a row. So in my opinion, he was the favorite to win this thing. If you're just watching this tournament of sports that is the AEW Continental Classic, and you're trying to gauge who you think is the favorite to win, I mean, early pick had to be Brody King. The guy looked unstoppable here. Dethrones Eddie Kingston in the first match.
Yep.
So then we had Eddie Kingston and Claudio having a match. Kingston wins. That's right. They had that feud that they rekindled after Claudio refused to put Eddie Kingston over way back when in Chikara before he went to WWE.
Yeah, right.
Bryan Danielson is out here fighting with one eye. I mean, Bryan Danielson looks like he just got into a fight with a shark. Like, what? He's out here fighting injured. What is not injured on this man's body right now?
I know, and he's just out there doing it, and he looks happy.
No, I'm sure it's just the orbital bone. But yeah, we thought that he was not going to wrestle with his broken orbital bone. No, he just put a light piece of padding over his broken orbital bone to continue wrestling through that injury, and then, of course, had to utilize and highlight that injury as an angle in his match with Andrade last week.
Got to make people care, brother. That's wrestling.
I mean, one of these days, Brian's going to become gravely injured, and no one's going to help him.
Yeah.
He's going to be like at the supermarket, and he's going to like tear his face open on like a shelf, and he's going to be like, "Excuse me, can someone help me? I'm bleeding pretty bad." And everyone's just going to be like, "Not this time, Brian. You're not getting us this time." But yes, Bryan Danielson highlighting his broken orbital bone by busting it open. No, I don't know if it was. I would assume it was I would hope it was a blade job, for God's sakes.
I know, jeez.
Instead of busting open a broken orbital bone the hard way. I hope that's not what happened.
That'd be ridiculous. No way.
But yes, that this is becoming Brian's move. Any injury, you don't know if it's real or fake, because he's using it. Like when they had to make a rule that says you couldn't pretend to have a seizure in the ring. It's like, who do you think they made that rule because of?
Exactly.
The guy who had to retire because of brain injuries and then came back and thought it would be funny to feign a brain injury in the ring.
Yep. That's just wrestling, man. He's a pro.
Oh no, for sure.
I know.
It's great. It's just, if it was anybody else, we'd probably say it was a little too far.
I think you're right. Yeah. He's so good in the ring that we're just like, okay, do what you want.
Yeah. What a riot. You tricked me into thinking you were having a seizure. What a riot.
Add a star to the match. You
Yep.
tricked me into having a seizure.
And that would have been obviously the Okada match when he had a broken arm and was trying to tell the ref that he had a broken arm. So to buy himself some time, he decided to, fake a seizure.
I mean, that is a pretty good move if you're thinking about it, to buy yourself some time.
So a couple matches that I really liked in this one. I really liked Swerve versus Jay Briscoe. That was a fun one. Andrade versus Bryan was a fun match. Like I said, Brody King and Eddie Kingston. A lot of good matches. And each week, the story is unfolding a little bit more as far as, now everybody's in a position. So there's leaders, right? The leaderboard right now is like Moxley, who has 12 points. So he's 4-0. He's won all of his matches. Swerve has won 3 out of 4, only lost to Moxley. So he's got 9 points. Andrade is 3-0. So like, for whatever reason, Andrade is like a week behind. He's 3-0. Mox is 4-0. Jay White has 4 matches. He's 3-1. So Jay White could veritably win this thing.
Yep.
Like I said, as of this recording, Roosh is 2-2 in the tournament. Claudio not doing so hot in this one, 1-2. So he's only got 3 points. Eddie Kingston is also 1-2. He only has 3 points. And then, like I said, in the bottom standings currently, we have Daniel Garcia, Jay Lethal, and Mark Briscoe. I think I may have said, no, I don't think I said Jay Briscoe. I don't think I'm the AEW social media team.
Actually, I think you did say Jay Briscoe.
Oh, I did?
Yeah.
Shoot. Well, then I should go work for AEW. There's 2 Jays in this tournament, and there's Jay Briscoe's brother, Mark Briscoe. I mean, it
happens. Yeah.
Come on, cut me some slack here. That's what
I'm gonna have to fine you for that. Okay.
Yeah, I need you to cut me some slack and not fine me for that one. You didn't fine me when I faked a seizure. Oh, speaking of people getting fined, I mean, these new rules, I saw Roosh the other night. He's smacking a beer bottle around, or he cracked like somebody's beer can on his head. I'm pretty sure that was against the rules. You're not supposed to be taking drinks from the fans anymore.
That is a rule. Get him out.
I don't know.
Don't let Brian see that.
So actually, I want to switch gears a little bit here. I'm loving the AEW Continental Classic, but before we get out of here, I want to talk about 2 more things. First, we're going to talk about the Golden Jets hilarity. And then I also do want to get into this, who is the devil, before we get out of here.
Okay.
So I just got to talk about this Golden Jets promo that we got on Dynamite. I usually, when something is just a little cringeworthy and just not that good, we just leave it off the show usually, because there's a lot of good stuff in wrestling to talk about. So your run-in-the-mill crappy segment, it's just not going to get time on the show.
Sure.
But my God, this it's like we've peaked. I hope we've peaked with with cringe promos from both Kenny Omega and Chris Jericho, because this promo on Dynamite this week with the Golden Jets against Ricky Starks and Big Bill was, I had to like, somehow I was looking at my TV and I still had to turn my head to look at the TV to say, what the heck is going on with this? What is this? So Jericho does this thing, and it's like a podcasting thing. I do it to you sometimes. It's when somebody else is talking and you kind of talk underneath them. You're not trying to interrupt them. You just want to get a couple words in as like salt and pepper on what they're saying. Sure. And fucking Ricky Starks says something like, I'm going to call you guys Big Billy. No, Jericho says, I'm going to call you guys Big Billy Starks. And then Ricky Starks was like, yeah, that didn't get over. And then, or he goes, that fell flat. And Jericho goes, it kind of did. Like into the mic, he goes, it kind of did.
Yeah, no, what?
Like, save your meta commentary for the podcast, dude. And then Omega is just, it's Kenny Omega does this as well, and it's not that bad it's not a crime in a promo to just kind of talk your way into what you mean, right?
Yeah.
But he did it in every sense. It was just, he just seemed a little rusty. Like, it just, that wasn't an all-time great Omega promo, but just combined with Jericho being like, it kind of did. It's like, that fell flat. It kind of did. And then Ricky Starks is like giving his opinion on the shittiness of this promo as it's happening. He says somebody says something about a spotlight, and then Ricky Starks is like, well, I think you guys have taken a little bit too much of the spotlight tonight.
My man, I love Starks.
It was great. That was great. Like, just listening to it unfold, I was just like, what the heck is going on? What are these guys doing? And they just never came back. They never said, all right, let's cut the BS and let's get down to business. And like, they never ended it with this big, it just kind of ended with a Kenny Omega, like, okay, now I'm going to do the thing that I do and bid you all adieu. So goodbye. And it was just,
I wonder what when that kind of stuff happens, it kind of shocks me, especially with a guy like Jericho and Omega too. Like, these guys are long veterans. They know what they're doing. Like, what did they expect to come out there and do? Come on.
They were just a little too loosey-goosey in that one. Like, they were just, I don't know. I'm not mad about it. I don't hate anybody. Yeah. I don't think they suck. I'm not going to use it and say, this is why so-and-so sucks. It was just objectively bad. And I just felt the need to talk about it. Because it was both.
Yeah.
It was funny and terrible. But before we get out of here, we've got to talk about the biggest mystery. The second biggest mystery in wrestling. The first biggest mystery is who killed AEW. But the second biggest mystery in the world of wrestling right now is who is the devil. And folks, let's have wrestling fan Kris see if he can list all the people I've texted him that I think are the devil. Can you even name all the people I've said I think are the devil?
Man, Adam Cole, I believe you said. Way back when, I don't think you ever thought I was Punk. Good for you. Jungle Jack.
Yep.
Samoa Joe. Roger Strong. Yep. Wardlow. You think it's Wardlow? Yep. FTR could be the Goons. I've heard you say that. Sean Spears is a Goon. So those are the ones off the top of my head.
Oh, so I thought it was Britt Baker.
You said Britt Baker. That was one of my favorite ones. Yeah, Britt Baker.
And I also thought it was Ricky Starks.
Yeah, that one too. Yeah.
And each time I try to flesh this out, I start to think like, but it can't be that person because. So the biggest thing we have to, like, when we're looking at these like mysteries on wrestling or shows and stuff, it's, are they doing actual continuity? Meaning, are these big muscular dudes that we're seeing?
Yeah.
Are they just dummies? Like, are they just extras? Or are they the actual people that when they pull the mask off, it is going to be Wardlow? Or you know what I mean? Like the devil, for example. Yep. Has the devil been more than one person? You know what I mean? That's kind of key to me because you have henchmen involved. There's like these 4 henchmen. So are the henchmen going to be revealed, or are they always going to be like I said, in the Dark Order, when the Dark Order had like 19 henchmen in it, and they were never anybody. They were just extras. So are these henchmen going to be named individuals, and have they been consistently the same people every week, right? If that, we're supposed to believe that that is the case, right? So that means somebody's leading a bunch of henchmen, right?
Yes.
So yeah, so let's review these contenders that we have here for who is the devil. Because the reason why I also say that is because MJF was in the ring when the devil was on the screen. So this is part of it too. Like, are we supposed to believe that when we see one person that it's inherently not them? You know?
Oh yeah, yep.
So I'm going to operate on that because it's just too many layers to get into of, well, if MJF really is the devil, then he's already commandeering the broadcast. Well, why couldn't he put up a recording of himself? Like, I'm not going to get into all that. So we're going to presume that the devil is one person and there's people with him, and they're not just anonymous henchmen, they're people. And the people that they've beat up are not, like, it's not the Acclaimed, I don't think, are the henchmen, right?
Yeah.
Because they got beat up by the devil's henchmen. So we've had the henchmen attack. First, it was, I believe, Jay White, right?
It was, yep.
So then we had the Acclaimed also got attacked. I don't know if they were the next people to get attacked. We've seen MJF get attacked. Samoa Joe almost get attacked a few times.
Yep.
And I think somebody else also got attacked by the henchmen. I can't remember. But we've seen different groups of people getting attacked, and it was all, like Excalibur is telling us, it's all people who are kind of loosely connected to MJF in that week or moment.
Yeah.
So who is the devil? And everybody now at this point is pointing fingers on screen. So Roderick Strong, he's telling Samoa Joe that MJF is the devil, right? The devil himself wants us all to think that Hangman Page is the devil because he essentially attacked MJF with a beer bottle, right?
Yep.
And then Hangman Page was missing, as Samoa Joe told us on Dynamite. So I'm still going to keep in play the idea that the devil is somehow going to trick us, meaning, like, yes, it's obviously not Hangman, right?
Yep.
But could it be MJF still? Yes, I still think MJF is still a possibility in here. Meaning he could have, framed up that shot where it looks like he's getting attacked, but he set it up. But
Yes.
He's the only person that I would put in that role where we've seen them and the devil's attacking them, but he could be the devil. Like, I don't think, like I said, it's not going to be Max Caster.
No.
Or Billy Gunn. So this is who I think it is at this point. And I will say, I do think they had to change it, right? Do you think that the original story is going to be the same person?
I do not at all.
If I was, at the roulette table and there was 36 names and I had my chip to put them down on people, for one, I'd be putting down a lot of chips. But two,
Yeah.
which I already have, so now you guys get an idea of my roulette strategy. I still think it is either, at this point, it's either Adam Cole or... Okay, so I got to do more caveats here. Sorry, I've already said it. It's my original... If it's someone in AEW now, right? That's the other thing. If it's someone in AEW now, my picks are Adam Cole, Roderick Strong, and a dark horse pick is still Wardlow.
Okay, yep.
Because I think if it's Adam Cole, it's just Adam Cole, and that's who it's been the whole time. If it's Roderick Strong, then I think that maybe it was going to be Adam Cole, and they just kind of now Roderick Strong is taking his place, right?
Okay.
Because it's the same kind of crew, the Kingdom. So, and then Wardlow, like I said, dark horse pick because he's still in the mix. He's still talking about how he's coming for MJF. But he's still kind of in the background of this whole thing.
Yep.
And then there's the possibility, which is growing on me, that it's somebody new. A debut, right? Somebody is new. And I think those two people I would pick. Well, okay, so now I'm going to give you three people. How about that, right?
Great.
Three more people that we haven't even talked about. These are the three people I think it could be. And one of them it's definitely not, but still. Three people. Mustafa Ali, Nick Nemeth, FKA Dolph Ziggler.
Nice. Okay.
Or Sami Callihan would be my last, just throwing a name.
Man. No Jack Perry in there, huh? No.
I was just going to say, what do you think specifically about Jungle Boy? Do you think he should still be in play here as a possibility? Or do you think...
Oh, man. So I think my whole thing on this situation is I think it's a good story that they're telling, but it's running its course. And I think it lost all momentum because of the Punk stuff. Like WWE is so hot now and Punk's over there. It's like over. I think if it's Roderick Strong, if he gets revealed, that means they scrap this whole thing and they don't care about it anymore. They're like, okay, we're just going to make it Roderick Strong and the Kingdom and have this story go. And it's like, it's not that big of a deal. If it's Adam Cole, might be able to save it because he might be able to work the work he can do when he's not hurt, the talking he can do with MJF, the feud they have might be okay. If it happens to be MJF and he reveals himself to be the devil, that wasn't the beginning. I think if MJF is the devil, they're like, this is the one guy who could talk his way through this and make this get over and like end the story. So I'm very interested to see who is going to be revealed because I think it goes into like the backstage, like not paranoia, but like the craziness that happened in the last couple of months. So I don't know. Who do you think it would be if it's a non-AEW, like a new debuter?
Well, that's just where it gets interesting because that is where you could definitely say, okay, we just changed it. We decided, like, we just signed this guy or we're about to sign this guy. Yeah. So we're setting this whole thing up. So they haven't been on TV yet, but it's going to be. Like, some of those henchmen were pretty muscular. And they also had pretty round, bald-looking heads, some of them. I mean, obviously, you can make your head look bald. You can, like, wear, like, you can, like, wrap your hair like a wig and all that stuff and wear, like, a hairnet and then put the thing on, but... I'm going to say the people that we're kind of circling here are at least the henchmen, right? So we're, like I said to you in text, Shawn Spears, FTR, possible henchmen.
Yep.
The Kingdom and Roderick Strong could be henchmen.
Yep.
Josiah Williams could be a henchman.
Sure. That's good.
Mansoir and Dio Madden.
That's the reveal. There we go.
That's how you know it wasn't the same person every week if it was Mace.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there's a lot of people, folks, and that just tells me that it is a good story. But yes, you make a good point when you say it's running its course, meaning this ain't the Bloodline saga. 3 more months of this, and people are going to get sick of it.
Yeah, this is like in the 9th inning, the top of the 9th. We got to get going.
Yeah, this is like extra innings.
Yeah, we're getting there.
People, half the crowd's already left. They want to go home. They're like, I didn't sign up for this. No, we're not there yet.
Do you think that there is a reveal that could be actually like, it's not going to be a huge reveal, right? That's going to be odd. Like, it's not going to set the internet ablaze, but do you think there'd be a reveal that would be like, okay?
I do think Dolph Ziggler would be big for them. Mustafa Ali would be like fun. You know, it would get the internet people going, I think. People popping in their living rooms. I told myself I wasn't going to say that anymore after the Al Snow thing.
But, oh, yeah. Oh, how dare you?
I'm going to have to cut that part out. But, yeah, so I think Dolph Ziggler would be a big, like, if it's on Dynamite, it's like, oh, my God. Like, you know, they'll do the whole thing where they're like, that's Nick Nemeth, as if we've ever said that before.
Yeah, right, yeah.
I
mean, Ziggler, he could be a guy that I think at first it might be like it won't be a letdown. It'll be kind of a nice reveal. But it won't be like huge. But I think he is a guy who could like make it work too with his in ring too and the way he could talk. So that might be good. That's good. I'm gonna I think you convinced me just in this like last 2 minutes that it's him.
You know who? As I'm scrolling through the old X.com here, watching videos that I didn't ask to see. You know who I think it might be? Someone who's been, you know, dare I say, lurking in the shadows for a while. Someone who. Maybe they're sick of what they're seeing on TV. Maybe they're sick of what they're hearing in the magazines.
Oh, no.
Maybe the magazines are saying some things. I'm thinking, I think we got this thing nailed down. Get me my pen. I think the devil it's Kevin Von Erich, isn't it? It's Kevin Von Erich.
The ultimate cross promotion.
He's got henchmen. He's got his sons. Oh my God. What if that? No, I wouldn't. He's too skinny. He's too old. He wouldn't do that. I was going to say, what if I did just ruin it? Spoil it. The magazines.
His sons could be the henchmen, though. I mean, maybe that's the way to debut them. But I mean, Was the devil wearing shoes? Was he barefoot? That's how we'll tell.
Why was the devil barefoot is the question. Was it because he went to Japan? Definitely not because I went to Japan. Nothing like that.
Oh my God. Oh man.
I'm pretty sure wasn't it because he just forgot his shoes one day, boots?
Oh yeah, I think that's what it was. Yeah.
And then he was just barefoot. But yeah, I don't like what they're saying in the magazines. I didn't even watch that segment on Dynamite with the Von Erich, so I'm going to have to go back and check it out.
Gotta see Kevin. Yeah. Seeing Kevin Von Erich and see him talk is amazing, no matter what he says.
Love Kevin Von Erich, for sure. But yes, I think that about does it for this episode of Watch Wrestling with Mike Wellman. I think once we're accusing Kevin Von Erich of being the devil in AEW, I think we've this show has run its course. So yes, thank you for sticking with us. Thank you for sticking around to the end of the podcast. It's good to be here. Still 70 episodes of Watch Wrestling with Mike Wellman. Hopefully we'll have way more than 70 more episodes. Hopefully nobody will come in and try to swoop in and take our TV deal, put us out of business. Hopefully none of our competition decides to buy us, but we would be taking offers if our competition decide to buy us. But yes, thank you for sticking with us. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Watch Wrestling with Mike Wellman. What does this button do?
Watch Wrestling with Mike Wellman.
Still selling fake doors. We have fake doors like you wouldn't believe. What are you worried about? Come get fake doors. Call us up and order some fake doors today. Don't even hesitate. Don't even worry. And don't even give it a second thought.